Hello and welcome to my video blog. In this video I will give you a short overview of the current status of my Pascal project manager and editor, and here is new documentation option which is currently in beta stadium. So I will open then in this case this project. And you see here new on the right corner. If the project has a documentation, then there are links available to HTML, or with some additional programs you can also create help files in this CrossHelp format or as a PDF documentation. But now let's open this project in the editor program. So as you can see here directly, there are already some documentation information in the form of the XML documentation standard. When I change here in the left side to the documentation tab, then you will find here the text in the summary window. Of course, you can add additional text here in the remarks, return section, and so on. If I would do this here, for example, and this update button is activated for automatic updates, then it will be updated directly in the text, just for demonstration. And it will be then directly updated here on the right side. So you can, of course, not only add summaries for the unit description. We go to a next entry here. Of course, you can comment all your classes or some functions or procedures, and you can also add here more information. You can also add here an example tag, so then this will be in the documentation output then later. So perhaps let's have a look how it is in the documentation. Here I have already created one documentation, so I just only want to see it. And the main file for the documentation is a short description with some additional info, and then a unit list where you can directly click and go to the corresponding units. Here we was just here in the main unit, so I click it to there. And you can add also here some images. Here is the main window of the program, and here are the classes, the routines, and so on. And it was a main form class, and here a method that was documented. And you can see here with more documented functions or procedures, you have then also a link where you can click on. And here you can see we have the different parameters are explained, and here is the example that you have just seen in the editor window. So perhaps more information about the created documentation. So here is a unit list, and the short explanation on the right side is the first text line on the general summary tab for the unit. For example, if we look here in the about form, you can see here the summary is added, and you can also here insert pictures, and I will show you how easy it is to manage it. For example, if we add an information for the or an image for this tag, we can just open this part and add some summary here for. and then we look at the form, and we save it then to the HTML documentation unit. So, and while this is saved, is automatically created an image link tag. So I can insert it here. It's reflected here. And if I create a documentation for it, here is the FD5. So only HTML. And we have a look at the FDM5 unit. Here's the explanation, and then we have the image here included in the documentation. But some more information perhaps about the main index list file. So you have here the units list of your projects, and after that there is a list of the units with initializations and the line where the initializations are. So if you want to check what happens there, you can have a look, or if you have explained it in the unit itself with a summary tag for the initialization, you can read it and also here. After this list, there is a list with open to-dos. In this case is only one, and a list from other units in the project path that are perhaps not belonging to the project, and you can check what is with these files, and a list of included files, and also a list of style files that are probably belonging to your project, a list of other projects, a list of folders that are in your project path, and so on and so on. So, and how the documentation will be created. Before we're going to that, here you can click to the help information button, and then you will have a short explanation about the different XML documentation tags. Later here, of course, also in English. At the moment it's only in the German version available. So, but now going to the dialog where we can create this documentation, where you have a general tab where you can explain for example, if the program is available for Windows, Mac and Linux, and if it is perhaps done with CrossVCL, and some general information that will be then also in the first index list file. And you can add some project infos that are then to find in the DPR unit info list, and you can also explain what third-party units you have used in your project and so on. And you can create all the documentation for all files, or only for the files that are just open in the editor, or for the file that you are just editing. That's helpful if you do add some documentation for one unit, and you will just see how the output is. And also you can see it's very fast to create this documentation, but it's not necessary to create some hundreds files every time. Yeah, and you can create also files in the CrossHelp format with an additional program, and also in PDF file. You can link it to the program here under extras, settings, and here under utilities tab. And I can show you how it looks when you call this. For example, here the CrossHelp documentation tag. So, and this looks like this. So similar, the list where you can jump to the corresponding locations, forth and back. And you can filter here if you want to have all with directory, for example. You can do it like this. And also very helpful is you have a full text search. If I look, for example, to store window posts or something like this, and you have it all very fast here available. Another way is to create a PDF file, and I can show you the result of this. And in this PDF file you have also an index list where you can click several things where you want to go. And of course you can also click here in the PDF file and jump to the information points that you will see, for example here the methods, and to the more detailed information and so on. This is very useful if you want to give this information to another person, and the files are relatively small. You have here 1.2 megabyte with a lot of images in it and pages, about 225 pages. So that was only a short status report of the current version. In the current version, the creation of the HTML documentation is already available as a beta status, and the creation of the CrossHelp and PDF will follow shortly. So if you have some wishes or remarks to the creation of the documentation, if you have some things what you think it's very important that should be in the documentation, then feel free to leave some comments here. Bye bye.